Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So I have here Isabel, Lauren, Rebecca, Kristen, Colin, and Kay Alpin. I don't remember how to pronounce your name. I'm sorry. Okay. Um, and Richard. Okay, great. Well, welcome to Visual Culture Today in our intercession course. We are going to be full online. It's a mainly self-paced course, but I will have those sessions on Monday mornings at 11 o'clock from 11 to 12 for just going, basically I'll go over what I feel important and then take your questions, or I'm happy to do, honestly, during those sessions, I'm happy to do whatever you feel most useful for you. I'm going to start by introducing myself, and then I want you to introduce yourself and tell me what brings you to the course and where you are at, if you're in Geneseo or somewhere else. So I'm Professor Ala Maislef. I teach in art history in the Department of Art History, and my area of expertise is modern and contemporary art and visual culture. We're going to talk a little bit today about kind of the definition of visual culture and how it's different from art. And this intercession, in addition to teaching you, I will be also busy writing an article about visual culture and craft in Ukraine and Belarus. So that's kind of that's where I'm at in terms of my research. My research kind of slowly took me from England, where I started in the early 20th century, to early 21st century Eastern Europe, and that's my my country of origin as well. I grew up in Soviet Union, but in Ukraine, in Kiev, and left Kiev in 1990, a long time ago. Went to Israel. I went to Canada, partly still based in Canada, but mainly live in New York State. So that's about me. Who wants to go first to tell? So what I'm interested in is anything you want to share about yourself, where you're at, in terms of like what's your major minor in Geneseo, or if you're somewhere else, and what do you think? What do you expect from the course? I'll just go around and tell you what, ask you to do that. How about that? Okay. Isabel, would you like to start? She's not here.
I can go first, Professor.
Okay, Richard, go. Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay. Hi, my name is Richie. I'm a senior psychology major. I was looking for like one last elective to take, and my friend Tommy recommended this class to me. He's an art history major. He said it was a really fun and interesting one. So I decided to take it over intercession. So I'm excited to see what I get out of it.
Okay, cool. All right, wonderful. Yep. Okay, interesting. So from psychology, kind of like, yeah, that's cool. All right. Okay. Who else?
I can go next if you want.
Okay, thank you.
So my name is Lauren Pecourt. I'm currently a senior at Clarkson University in Potsdam. I'm taking this course as an extra elective so I can graduate a year early. And my major is innovation and entrepreneurship with a minor in product development and marketing.
Oh, how great. Okay, Lauren. Yeah, that's a completely, I think you will bring a completely new take into visual culture. So did you do any visual kind of courses related to visual at all? Visual communication?
Not at Clarkson necessarily. We did some things with generations that we did some like visual analysis just on like how generations work. But the last time I did anything like this course was in high school. I took a couple art history classes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I think it's going to help with the marketing side of it, like getting an understanding of like the visual culture and everything.
Yeah, I hope so, and I think so, because I get normally when it's a bigger class during the semester, I get a lot of people from communication and business, and kind of that helps them a little bit to gain kind of more visual understanding and interpret things visually. That's great. Welcome. Okay, who wants to go next?
I'll go.
Okay.
I'm Kay. I'm a freshman English major and honors minor. And I'm in Geneseo right now. I'm actually in the dorms. And I took this course just because it seemed interesting and I wanted to fulfill a fine art credit.
Okay, great. Yeah, okay. Wonderful. So you finished your first semester, Kay, right?
Yep.
And yeah, okay. In English. All right. And you survived. Wow. Okay, great. You survived your first semester in among pandemic. So that's great. Okay, welcome. I think it will help you because I know that there are a number of professors in English that kind of teach also from a visual culture point of view as well. So hopefully it will be useful. Okay, great. Next.
I'll go next.
Okay.
I'm Becca. I'm a freshman and I'm a business administration major. And I just needed a credit for art, and this one seemed the most interesting to take. So that's why I took it.
Yeah, okay. I understand, Becca. Welcome. Yeah, okay. So that probably that is among of what we teach. That's probably the most relevant to business major. So kind of more related to culture rather than just to art. So that's great. Okay, welcome.
I can go next. So I'm a senior biophysics major with a math minor. So art is totally something, I'm a big math person, so artist or like visual culture is totally out of my normal realm of how I look at things. But I'm excited to learn about it and like see things from something like a perspective that I usually don't look at things. And I needed a fine arts requirement, and a few of my friends have taken this class and said that it was really interesting, so I decided to take it.
Okay, great. Okay, wonderful. Yeah. Okay. So that's kind of that's really fun for me because I get to kind of introduce you to all that, which is great. And for you, it's kind of taking yourself maybe out of your comfort zone necessarily and kind of looking at other things. So wonderful. Yeah. Okay. Welcome, Kristen. Okay, we've got.
I could go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't want to go first.
It's okay. I understand.
Yeah, so I'm a freshman, majoring in psychology, and I just took it because I wanted to fill out my fine arts requirement too, and it looked interesting.
Okay, so Isabel, you also survived your first semester.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, you did. Okay, great. Congratulations. It was
Thank
not easy. And yeah, okay, so and you're taking it, you're a psychology major and you're taking it as a fine art requirement. Cool. Wonderful. Okay. All right, we've got
Yes,
one.
I'll go
Yeah.
next. I'm Colin. I'm a second year mechanical engineering major at Rochester Institute of Technology. I think like a lot of people here, I'm taking them for some arts credits, but it also seemed really interesting. And as an engineer, it's important to not take STEM classes all the time.
Wonderful, fun. Okay, I had when I taught this class in the fall, I had a person who was majoring in engineering, and yeah, we had some interesting conversations about because he brought a completely different perspective. So that was great. Okay, Colin, I'd be really interested to know your ideas and also kind of like just comparison between your experience taking a class in Geneseo versus RIT. That would be really interesting. We don't get a lot of students from RIT, so welcome. Okay, all right, I think that's all. Our class is actually 18 people so far registered. We've got 8. I know people are maybe working, and this is not compulsory session. But I encourage you definitely to attend, and I'll email everyone else asking to attend. These sessions will be recorded, and I will be posting them on YouTube as a for people who had not seen, who had not been here, or if you want to watch them again. They are all going to be kind of not open, but if you have a link, you can access them. If you don't, then you cannot. So it's basically just for the class. Okay, so if you want to keep your windows kind of, if you don't want people to see you, that's fine with me. If you don't mind, that's great. I really appreciated people who kind of showed their face when they talk. But if you don't feel comfortable, that's fine as well. All right. So from here, what I want to do is basically I want to share my screen with you and just show you what I've got for you on Canvas, and kind of go over the syllabus a little bit to give you an idea of what we're doing. And then after that, I want to talk about kind of introduction and class material. Okay, at any point, if you miss something, if you want to ask a question, if you didn't understand my accent, just unmute yourself and talk, and I'll stop and I'll talk to you. So my desktop with lots of different things going on. Okay, so hopefully you can all see my canvas. So what you're looking at with me is my professor view. It's going to be slightly different, but really not much, shouldn't be. So we're starting, so when you come to Canvas, you want to go to modules right away. So because everything that I set up is in modules, and you're starting with the introductory module. This module is set up like kind of like it's locked until you do the previous assignment. So you will start with welcome to visual culture, and then go do the entire thing. It's really quick. And the last one is the syllabus. So I'm going to open the syllabus here and kind of go over it. So the class itself, really, the class is about visual culture today, and today is defined really broadly. We're going to jump temporarily from 19th century or before to very much today or last year. So there's kind of a lot of interplay, and I will make sure, and the textbook also makes sure that you will have as much clarity as possible. But if you don't, if you like kind of all that doesn't make sense, email me, and I will give you some kind of type of chronology for you to take on. So the visual culture, the course description is visual culture studies construction of visual in art, media, technology, and everyday. And that's essentially it. So in comparison to art and art history that studies only art, and art, like we understand art as being painting, sculpture, architecture, photography, visual culture studies anything that is visual that surrounds us. So Netflix shows, Marvel movies, comics, fashion illustration, a representation of the elections on TV or in the news, anything like that comes under visual culture. And very often we will see that visual culture then becomes kind of a combination between text and images. It works in combination, and we'll talk about that as well. And we are going to look a lot about different ways that visual culture works and different strategies that it employs. But also we're going to look at basically why is the image there? What is it trying to tell us? The communication, visual kind of image as a way to communicate. If you know, like the easiest kind of what we use every day, and even I'm learning to use it, is emojis, you know, those little funny, silly faces. We communicate. Those are visuals. They are. My son tells me that they are there to kind of set the tone, because I'm I wasn't sure at the beginning, why are you getting that from other people? So okay, so I digress, but I think you hopefully understand the point. So the study outcomes then is really that kind of identify examples of visual culture, analyze artistic kind of critique styles that come in different types of media, that how different types of media uses different messages and images, conduct comparative compare and contrast, develop vocabulary. Vocabulary is important. We will talk a lot about different terms that you can use, and then you will be introduced, and recognize that it's very interpretive. At the end of the day, a lot of it is subjective and based on what you like and what you're used to, and what how you grew up and what you were told. But I'm going to challenge you as well in that, and kind of say, see if you can, we can expand that, not necessarily make you like things, but make you appreciate and understand. Okay, so this is about the course. The textbook is very important, because that's your number one source for success in this course. So I urge you to get that, rent it, or whatever you need to do. Get the third edition or later, but ideally the cover should look like this. If you get prior and cheaper versions, you are not they changed from second edition to third edition, changed quite a bit, so it's going to be much harder. So I suggest getting this one. Okay, so, and then I'm going to skip right now all that, because I will show that to you on Canvas, like basically day-to-day kind of schedule of things. And I want to talk a little bit about kind of modes of this assessment of evaluation and what you need to do. So the class is divided, the chapter, no, the textbook is divided into 10 chapters. So we have 10 modules for the class. Now, and each chapter slash module have a quiz. And as in addition to that, you will have 5 written assignments. So you have to do 5 quizzes out of 10 to get the grades. If you do more, then I'll take the best grades, the best marks out of whatever you do. All the assignments count. There are 5 assignments. They are not very difficult. They may, some of them may be a little more time consuming in a sense that they will ask you to look at the YouTube videos or read some material and answer questions, but they are not they don't require any additional research. Those are not research or essay based assignments. So essentially, if you get the textbook, that's all the books and all the research that you're going to be doing probably for this class, most of it. Okay, I'm going to ask if you have any questions so far. Okay, assuming that we don't. So as such, we have 5 written assignments, which are worth 50%, and 5 quizzes for chapters 1 to 10 that are also worth 50%. So in total, that gives us in total 100%. So each assignment or each quiz is 10%. Now for the quizzes, for the first 3 quizzes, so chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, you get 2 attempts, and the mark is average between the 2. And then starting from number 4, you get only 1 attempt. So so the way I set it up is because I want you to kind of get a hand, kind of understand what type of questions are there, what is it asking you, etc., etc. So I recommend highly to take at least like 2 chapter 2 and chapter 3, maybe, or chapter 1 as well, so you understand what you're getting yourself into. The quizzes are not easy, I hear. And if you decide to do the quiz for the chapter, for that to count, I recommend that you read the chapter at least twice and take notes, okay? Because it really challenges you to know what in the chapter. Okay, so each quiz has 20 multiple choice questions, and you get 40 minutes per each attempt, which is a lot. I may change it to a little bit less. If you need extra time, if you have documented accommodation, please let me know or email me, and I will work with you and I'll adjust the time. But usually people finish a lot quicker than 40 minutes. Okay, so the written assignments, as I said, there are 5 of them. I think the longest that I have is asking you to answer 3 questions, and in about maybe 400 words each. So usually the assignment would be between 500 to 1,000 words, and 500 is more like it. So again, these are your reactions to things. It asks you to find an advertisement and analyze it, or kind of look at the YouTube videos, look at the articles, and kind of kind of bring it all together and answer based on these sources. Okay, policies that you can look at later. This is the grade scale, grade range that are used for this class, and these are recommended sources. They are not for. I mean, again, this is not a research-based class, but if you want to think further, or if you're really interested in something, then these are the theoretical books that kind of underpin the class. And if you want something more kind of more contemporary and more topical, let me know and I'll recommend you something. Okay, questions. All right, so so then let's move to the actual Canvas, and I'm going to take chapter 1 as a kind of as an example of what I have here. So each module, all this basically module and chapter is used interchangeably here, and each module would have a plan first of all. So this is the plan for us for this for the first module. And I'm asking you to read, etc., etc. So I'm essentially giving you a rundown of what you need to do for this module. And then these are here. So for chapter 1 and chapter 1 only, I actually have the chapter here. Now, this chapter that I have, can see if it loads. It's a scan of an older edition of the chapter. I don't have anything newer than that to scan. So I recommend that you give it a read, but don't take a quiz until you actually get the textbook. And because I want you to get the textbook before you take the quiz. The quiz is due only on next Monday, so you get a week to get a textbook, to read it, etc., etc. Okay, so that's for number 1. So the chapter is here. Then each of the modules also have a summary of the chapter. Basically most important things. Again, you will not be able to do well on a quiz if you only read the summary. So this is more for you to, after you read the chapter, to look at the summary and kind of think, oh, this is important, and then go back to the chapter and pull, kind of pay attention more to those important parts. And this is the PowerPoint of the chapter with the text that I put together and that I use when I teach. This is here. While you're waiting for the book, in this instance, in the first module, what I recommend you to do at some point is to start by watching this Ways of Seeing, just because you're waiting for the book. It's part one of a 4-part series done a long time ago in the 70s. So John Berger, who is a really, really, really great writer and an art historian, he looks a little disheveled in the style of 70s, and he has really funny hair, but he is really, it's really kind of, it encapsulates brilliantly what we still think about when we talk about images, really. So please do take a look, especially the idea of the context of the images and how we see the images within the context. That's really important. Okay, and then quiz of chapter 1 that you all going to take based on your desire and availability is due on the 11th. Here I have introduction, and I'm going to go over the introduction, but you don't need to read that. This is a PowerPoint for the quiz. This is just the intro mainly, okay? And that's how it goes on each of the modules. So while here you get about a week, after that, the modules come very quickly and the quizzes come very quickly. So if you have a textbook, I recommend that you start getting on it very soon. So usually you would have at least one kind of documentary or something to look at. And other than that, it's just the chapter reading quizzes. On the 16th, so we will see each other before. On the 11th, the first assignment is due. Spectatorship and power relationship in advertisement. I will show you what the assignments look like. So there is that's on my side, you can see the rubric. So for this one, I'm asking you to choose two different advertisements. They can advertise one thing or they can advertise two different things. An advert should have one person advertising. The other one should have two people advertising. Now, it has to be an ad. It cannot be a journal cover or magazine cover. It has to be an ad clearly selling something. And then you look at kind of what is the one person, how is one person behaving? Does the subject appear to be aware of what they're advertising? What is the relationship between the thing they advertise? So they say they advertise this beautiful running shoes like Snickers. Are they wearing them, or are they just staring at them, or are they staring at the viewer? And by that time, you're also going to have read about the gaze, the idea of kind of power relationship in the viewing of someone. So what is the relationship when it's one person, and then what is the relationship when there are two people in the advertising? What is the relationship between the two? How does the viewer factor into that image as well? Okay, I'll go over that a little bit more next time as well. Okay, so questions, comments. All right. Okay. So I'm going to ask you to do something for me. I'm going to ask you in the chat box, could you please try to define what is art and what is visual culture? And there's no right or wrong answer. Just kind of take it as it comes. Just what do you think is art? What do you think is visual culture? And write it in the chat for me. I'm gonna stop sharing and I'm gonna look at the chat. Take a second to do that, and then I'm going to open our PowerPoint and talk a little bit about the material. Okay, good. Okay, so creativity, the people express their culture and visual aspect. Presenting group of people. Do you see? Are you reading that with me? Yeah. Okay. Okay, those are wonderful. They definitely hit on aspects of art and visual culture that are very important. One of the really interesting exercises that you can do to kind of to keep yourself entertained is to, as you go around, kind of ask yourself, is that art? Is this not? Okay, and I'm interested, like when we have those discussions in class, um, you know, do you consider nature art? What is human intention? Do we actually consider art everything that's been done by the human being? And what about the machine? And what about artificial intelligence, et cetera, et cetera? So those are really interesting questions that come up, and kind of like, you know, depending on how where you're at in terms of your upbringing, and in terms of kind of how how what you think about art, if you thought about art, that makes a really interesting conversation. And then visual culture, really, I will start showing you now the kind of the material, but really it's any image that surrounds us, and any image that was made with the intent of communicating, even with yourself, right? So if you create a selfie and you put it for yourself, somehow that's still visual culture. Okay, so no, that's not what I want. Sorry. I'm going to go back. So this is our class, and this is the introduction, and I'm going to talk for a bit just to give you an idea, really. So we're surrounded by images. This is the one of the kind of ones that I chose just because it was hilarious and disturbing at the same time. So whether it's a selfie that we generate ourselves, that whether it's something that is generated for us, memes, shows, anything. So I'm going to go very quickly just to show you the power of images. This is a protest in Bahrain, and this is the images of the Bahrainian protesters carry symbolic coffins with pictures of the victims of the government crackdown on opposition protest in the Shiite village in 2012. So this is the actual image of protest. So here we can actually see the power of the image. They are carrying coffins. These are empty, but the images of the people who died are attached to the coffins themselves. So that's the image. And this is the kind of pixelated blow up of that. So one of the things that we're going to think about is what is it looking? What do we mean when we say looking? It's a set of practices informed by a range of social arenas beyond art and media. So let me put it this way. When you are shown, we just had a very contentious elections, and ultimately it's still going on, right? So regardless on which side of the divide, of the political divide, or you're on, when you look at the image that shows our current president-elect, or anybody else, you're not just seeing things, you also have background, and you take it in with your previous, and file it along with your social understanding prejudices, maybe implicit bias, explicit bias, non-bias, whatever it is, right? But looking is not just this innocent thing where we take on, beautiful nature, say, oh, this is pretty. Usually there is a lot more involved when we look at the images. So this is how we will understand the looking. With the looking, there comes to visibility and visuality. So, and I'm going to use this as an example to show you what that is. So Ken Gonzalez Day is a contemporary photographer based in California, and this is his photograph. And what he did is he started investigating the idea of lynching in California later in the century by KKK. And he started making those photographs that show just a tree. There is nothing else. So this is from Searching for California Hang Tree from 2007 to 2012. So he would find a place where lynching would take place, and he would try, based on the photograph, he would go and try to find that tree, and he would only take a picture of the tree, nothing else. Okay, so when we know the story, when we see the tree, we actually can there's a lot of meaning, there's a lot of kind of background meaning, and that informs how we look at this tree now. So his kind of subject was lynching in the West from 1850 to 1935. He discovered that 350 lynching of young Mexican men took place in California. And this is I'm sorry, this is a very disturbing image, but this is the image that he found in the archives. So there's a very, very different impression than we get when we look at this versus this. And arguably it's a lot easier for us to watch this, to see that. It's less triggering, but it also requires and allows for a lot more contemplation and a lot more kind of forming of the meaning for us. So this is the type of thing that we think of kind of visuality. This is a type of communication, the complex visual communication that is visuality. So one of the parts of the project, he created, Gonzalez Day created a book, he created an exhibition, but he also created series of billboards with those photographs. And as you can see, those photographs have no subtitles, they have no text, no caption, nothing. So you need to know what's going on to actually understand why this tree is there. And yet at the same time, I think you would agree with me that this is also a very ominous image as well. So it actually it's not just a representation of nature. It is a lot more than that. The way he sets it up with the black background and the stones on either side, etc., etc. So there are a couple of other images that I have here. So one of the things is the idea of emptiness, and the emptiness here in Gonzalez Day's work attracts attention to the problem. So visuality tells us about making visible and at the same time the erasure, right? So the visuality is essentially shows us that this is the language that he uses to portray the meaning. Okay, questions, comments? All right. Okay, so one of the things that we need to understand if we're looking at visual culture is what is culture. And I want to start by telling you, well, I'm showing you here this very Very nice man, Raymond Williams, from 1921 to 1988. He passed away. A lot of images that you will see of various philosophers, etc., will be with either a pipe or a cigarette or cigar or something like that. I don't know why, but they, in the kind of 20th century, they really like that kind of manly smoking look. So that's the way it is. Raymond Williams is a cultural theorist, or a person who founded the discipline of cultural studies. And while you are taking this class for fine art credit, we are, as a visual culture discipline, really is rooted in the idea of the cultural studies, in the discipline of cultural studies. Okay, cultural studies believe that media not just reflect, but also the society, but also we are made as human subjects and citizens by the media. And you're looking at that and thinking, and probably thinking, huh, I know that. Yes, you do. And we do now. We do, because people like Raymond Williams actually talked about that a lot earlier, in the 60s and 70s, when we still just started understanding the influence of the television and radio on the society. So this is kind of the premise, but it is still very important for us, because in essence we are going to ask that question all the time. What does this image do to us? How does it change us as a human subject? Does it make us to buy that lipstick? Does it make us to think about lynching again, and really think about it and understand that? Does that entice us to exercise? Or, but then in the deeper meaning, what does it do to us? Right? What does it? Where does it go from there? Just beyond the action or the thought, is there more? Is there deeper meaning? And how does it do that? So cultural studies is a discipline that studies culture, of course, and it studies culture kind of as a multidisciplinary subject. So we have culture as a set of beliefs, and how the set of beliefs affects various arts or social sciences, anthropology, literature, art, etc. So visual culture studies recognize the predominance of visual forms of media, communication and information in the postmodern world. And we will talk about postmodernity later in the as we kind of get into the material. But postmodern is kind of, we had modernity from about 1860s to 1960s, and then everything after 1960s into 1970s is postmodern, kind of more contemporary. So all the media belongs to the postmodern period. Okay. So the class itself that I developed about 7 years ago is really response to the social and cultural shift to the visual in the past maybe 50 years in general, but especially in the past probably 20 years with the kind of proliferation of internet, etc. So the question, the questions that we ask, and the visual this class in a way believes that visual culture, the visual images, are at least as important as text, as any other form of communication. Okay. So let me just go a little bit further. These are different types of communication. And I want to, so what is culture and what is visual culture? So we learn the codes for each form, and codes switch among the media between high and low culture, right? So, for example, a high culture, an example of high culture is ballet. An example of low culture is, okay, you give me an example of low. What is popular culture? Give me an example of popular culture. You need to talk because I cannot see the chat if you're writing. So if you can just open yourself and talk, that's great. Not
So popular culture, that could be like the Kardashians or something.
yes, yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so the Kardashians a great example. It's as popular as it gets, probably, right? It's the anything that kind of created for consumption of many people. You don't need to have any prior education. So rap music, popular music, Lady Gaga, I don't know, something like that. The Kardashians. Anything like this would be was considered in the past low culture, and we are now way past that kind of high versus low, because I mean, popular culture penetrated every aspect of our existence, and we don't necessarily believe that it's low anymore. It's just a different type of culture. But the what happens is that both high culture, so something like ballet or theater or literature, and low culture, very often in contemporary world, are kind of mixed together, and the codes of the expression. So, for example, rap talks very often, rap songs talk about everyday things that people, that mainly men, experience on the street. So that's the code of that culture. And the high culture, so literature talks a lot about suffering, right? So these get switched and interchanged in both visual and general in culture. And this is what our contemporary world looks like. We cite from either or. If we watch a show, very often we would have citations kind of or kind of references to both high culture and low culture, or popular culture and kind of high culture as well. Context is probably the most important thing for visual culture. And when you watch John Berger's documentary, he uses TV really brilliantly to show you that, the idea of the context. What do we see within the context of things? Like, for example, this one, if you go to to a country fair and you look at this, there's one way of looking at that. If you're a biologist, if you look at these tomatoes, there's a completely different contextual level. If you see this in the lab, there's a completely different context of looking at images. I think I'm going to stop here. I've gotten to Ouija, and I think you're going to be reading about him, and I can talk a little more about Ouija if we need to next time as well. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, and ask you if you have any questions, anything else that we need to discuss. Okay, can you just talk if you have a textbook? Like, just say yes.
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 Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right, wonderful. If you don't, make sure you get it. Our textbook, the Genesia textbook store has it, but honestly, it's everywhere. It's a very, it's not a rare book. You can get it on Amazon. You can rent it. I teach this course, so if you go on the, I'm sure you can either borrow or buy it from other students if you wanted to. So that's the most important part. So by next week, by our meeting next week, I want you to get the textbook and read chapter 1 at the very least, and try to take the test. Even if you're not ready, try to take the, you are safe that way, because you only get 5 best attempts. So take a look at the quiz, check what you do, what you can, make sure you understand the types of questions. So the way quiz goes, and the questions are shuffled, but there are a lot of questions that deal with terminology and kind of different ideas in the textbook. But then there are also the longer questions that you need to read very carefully, and they essentially give you a little case study and ask you to kind of to think about how that case study relates to something that you've read in the book. It's not difficult, you just need to know the material. It's not about, it doesn't test your intelligence, it tests how well you took the notes, but it does require attention and time. Anybody here works part-time or takes another course during this time? Just so I know.
I have 2 others during the winter term that I'm going to be taking, and then starting next week I'm going to have 9 classes at Clarkson. So I have one class that kind of overlaps with this one on a Monday just by 10 minutes, but it's only for 2 classes. So if I get on and I'm not as responsive those 2 days, it's because I'm in a different class, but I'll try to be as responsive as I can.
That's fine, Lauren. But okay, so think about it for the, I don't know how Clarkson works, but so many classes plus this sounds like a lot. That's just something to think about, because it's a 15, normally this class is 15 weeks compressed into 4.5. Right, so this is and because I hear you're trying to graduate a year early, so I'm sure you know how to work, and you're very efficient with that.
Yeah.
But I want to and it's fine, again, it's fine if you're not here for the session, it's going to be posted, but I want you to understand that you need to dedicate X amount of time, and a lot of time, to this class, and kind of, and make sure that you have that time, be very strategic. So if you know that you're having a lot of more classes coming up, then I would take this week and get as much work done. It's all there. Get as much work done this week as possible, etc.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm here if you need me. So I don't have set office hours, but if you email, I will figure something out with you as soon as I can. If I see that I need to set up some type of office hours, I will. I have no problem with that. So if you want to chat with me, email me, and we will or just go on my Google Calendar through Genesia system and set up an appointment. My calendar is open because I'm the only other thing I have is I'm teaching another class on Mondays from 1 to 2. I have similar session there. That's all. All right. Have a wonderful day. Good luck. Let me know if you need help. And again, welcome to the class. It's going to be new and exciting. That's for sure. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.